Okay, good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, participants, debaters, and also judges. Welcome to the announcement of your finalists. I will pass on to the Master of Ceremony, Afana. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Rafif. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, participants. I'll be announcing the four breaking teams that will play in the final. So, for the room Hendriawan C, Elang Mulia Lesmana, the advancing teams are FILTL and, and FTI, also FH3, FH3. Congratulations! Yay! And for the next room, for the room Hafidin Royan, Heri Hartanto, the advancing teams are FTSP1 and FSRD1. Yay, congratulations! Okay, so those are your finalists, and the grand final round will be contested at 3:30 p.m. We wish you all the best of luck.
At 3:30 p.m. Good luck, everyone. Congratulations. we will start with the draw at 3:30 p.m. or at 15.30 waktu Indonesia Barat. And then at 3:40 or jam 15.40 WIB, there will be motion launch conducted by core adjudicator. Okay. For the draw at 3:30, we're just 2 minutes away. So make sure you prepare yourself. If you have to go to the restroom, please do so now. Thank you. Respective phones or other access to media, you can check the tabicats to see the draw announcement.
Hi, Rafif. For the position of OG, and etc. for the grand final, I would like to do a randomizer. So could you please stop sharing and allow Irene to share? Because Irene will going to help me in the randomizing. Thank you.
Okay,
Rafif.
will do. Thank you, Ibu Astri. So I'll pass on to core adjudicator and tabulator Iren. Good luck.
Hi, Irene. Are you here? Hey, girl, that's not what you want. Okay, yes, generating draw. That's what you want. Okay, so we have FTS P1, FSRD1, FH3, and FALTL FTI. Now, in order to what we mean by randomizer, Irene will going to open the team generator. Irene, I think I highly suggest you stop screen sharing first and open the, yeah, thank you. randomizer or randomizer generator, would you please screen share? Just to make sure that everything that we are doing here is as transparent as possible. Okay. Okay, for groups, there you go. Just generate, there you go. Ya benar sayang, for group. Okay, so the group one means you are opening government. FALTL, will going to be opening government. I'm also going to write it down just to make sure everyone are in tune. FALTL, FTE will be OG, OO will be FTSP1, CG will be FSRD1, and CO will be FH3. Thank you, Irene. You can stop screen sharing, and it's now my turn to screen share the motion. Rafif, have you make sure that all the grand finalists present?
We need to check roll call one more.
Okay, roll call one more, making sure they're here. SAP, FTSP1, are you guys here?
Yes, we are here.
And complete?
Yes, we are complete.
FSRD, sorry for mistyping. FSRD1, are you guys here?
Yes, I'm here.
FH3, are you guys here?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, so FILTL, FTE, we're going to wait for 2 minutes for your team to be complete. Let us know ASAP, yeah? FTE team complete. Do we have FSRD1 complete too? Professor D1, are you back from the bathroom yet?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, you're here? Please confirm.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, though. So everyone is here. I'm going to share screen the motion.
Then if the draw already released in the
Yes, yes, the draw is already been released. It is in the chat box. I know.
Hi, Judge. Yes, only just final, role, team name, and name.
Okay, doke. Okay, make sure you get that. Just grand. Oh, yeah, okay. Rafif has written it down. There you go. So without any further ado, I'm going to share the motion. Just to check, the visibility of my share screen, is it a white screen, what PPT with, that poster and whatnot? Am I correct?
Docsgo.com, yes.
Okie doke. So for the grand final, under the heading of the theme is going to be what goes around comes around, as in we started with education. The closing is going to be also about higher education, because this is an internal competition. I cannot make random motion, right? So yeah, make sure the motion is okay. So the motion reads, there will be no context slide. I know context slide make you guys doozy and whatnot. So the motion reads, this house prefers a world in which universities charge tuition as a percentage of each student's earnings after graduation. Any question in regard of the motion? This is 3:39. The debate will start at 3:55. Any question in regards of the motion, guys? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? Good luck. Good luck, grand finalists. asking about the question, it's still okay, but please like ask it in the open so that everyone has equal starting point. What is your question? Hold on, let me check. Chris Dayanti?
I wanted to ask about the motion. So, is it like the students take a loan and then paying it after they graduate?
No, because what happened that it's the status quo. The motion is changing the status quo, but on to what extent the change on the status quo will be, it's the prerogative of opening government. I cannot go to that extent. Okay, hope it answers
Okay, thank you.
you. countdown before you speech to synchronize our timing. I will not going to give you the timestamp, so please do chime yourself. Remember that POIs are allowed between 1st and 6 minutes. Second of all, please also announce your preferred method of POI. But in the case that the debater speaking does not announce their preferred method of POI, the default offering of POI should be through chat. That goes without saying. Please make the chat of Zoom, especially the public one, everyone. I don't really care what you are doing or saying in your private chat in Zoom, but in a public one, please keep it neat and tidy. I know probably some of you want to support and whatnot. By you being here, you are already supporting. Make the chat as clean as possible, simply either to POI offering or timing. So I think that's all. Oh, debaters, don't forget to also turn on your camera whenever you are speaking. Without any further ado, I call upon the Prime Minister to open this grand final round.
Wait. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear. You may start anytime you are ready.
Okay. Give me a moment to set up my timer. Okay. If you have any POI, please just unmute yourself because I'll be reading the chat. I'll be referred to as he or him. And I'm starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, we live in a world that is filled with a current educational crisis. Why is this so? Like even in countries wherein like the countries as big as the United States, something as developed where they pride their education, so many students cannot achieve what should be a necessity for a country that is like so demanding for this kind of skilled workers because of the barriers that can't exist in the current status quo, and even in Indonesia, right, where the most countries, most systems are like privatized. So that we propose that we change the university tuition system as a percentage of each student's earning after graduation, because like we say that this will prevent like problems that will manifest in my substantive later, right? So like how will we mechanize this motion, right? So first we talk for this motion, we'll propose like a contractual agreement, right? A student and employer, something like student and employer agreement, but it's time with the university, right? Just like a company agreement that requires you to pay a percentage based on your income after you graduate, that until you fulfill your tuition fee, right? Thus, in the world that we envision, so the world that we envision is like the job database are already good enough, right? Because the system exists, so you need to be accountable, right? So you cannot fraud your way out of this. And like this, what most important thing that to note is that this post-graduation tuition is only charged based on how much tuition you actually have to pay. So like say you need to pay like 600 million, right? Thus you cannot say that you will simply pay this forever, right? Maybe I just want to clarify, maybe other team might misunderstand that point. So OG will be the team that will comparatively better in terms of practicality, in measures of opportunity, and how it will be good for the stakeholders, and principally regarding the right of education equity, right, which will be brought later by my Deputy Prime Minister. So let's move on to my substantive, right? Number one, let's talk about the idea of opportunity. Like we say in our world, it's a world where it's comparatively better in terms of opportunity. Like what is the problem in the current status quo right now is that this current system of tuition where you have to pay everything first or like based on a semester is that it hampers the opportunity of students, right? And also like my deputy later will also be explaining on why it should be equitable on a principal basis, but I'll be talking about the practicality of this opportunity, right? Like two things about this thing, right? So first, it prevents students from accessing higher education in the first place, right? Like one thing, even if you have like the idea that you have money currently right now, but what is so problematic is that this tuition fee is something that's not sensitive to time, right? Like people have like ups and downs in their financial conditions, especially with the world now going like financial crisis every 10 years, or there's like a pandemic and recession. So it's something that is like unreliable, to rely based on their current economic capability and condition. And what this thing means that you need flexibility in order to know when the time is right for you to pay. And this kind of installment based payment that is percentage based, it follows that flexibility, right? Because one thing that's not flexible is your aging, right? You cannot like simply wait for like 6 more years until you're financially stable. Then when you can finally go to university, because it will really hamper your opportunity. And like even in Trisakti here, like the Sumbangan pendidikan is like 50 to 500 million. Like it's not something so large, and it's something that's hard for like many middle income people, which is like which is like the backbone of most countries, right? Which is like they sustain based on their middle based income people, right? And like now let's talk about why this is like so important after they graduate from the university, right? Because it prevents the students from sustaining their life after. Like one thing that you should note is that universities are becoming more expensive and more expensive every year with inflation, and wages are stagnating. Right, there's like a fact that many like activists for like free education is like something they're campaigning, right? But like this is the fact that what makes this so hard, because the students are like being suffocated by the immense debt that they're accumulated through their college, their life, which is like based on the like interests, and the idea that these debts are usually not like based on your tuition, but it's like based on like you every this month you have to pay this. It's also like what links back to the problem before that, like the idea that your financial condition is like the stability of it is something that is not stagnant, right? It's something that fluctuates, that can change with external factors. But the idea that this thing cannot also modify with you, this means that there's a chance that you will eventually be crushed by this. And like let's move on to the idea of opportunity, right? Why is this opportunity so important, not only for the students but also for all the stakeholders in general? Right? So like first, let's talk about the university, right? Like the university, if they have like the more number of skilled graduates, then what will happen is that they create a higher number of high skilled people that eventually like increases the economy of the country, right? Because it means like more people are taking high skilled jobs that are more productive and creates more GDP, and it creates more job market. That's the idea that this increase of graduates will not create an oversaturation in the job market, right? Because the problem of oversaturation is that there are too many low skilled workers and not enough high skilled workers that have the capability to create new work fields, right, through the rise of entrepreneurship. And now why this is like important for like all the stakeholders in general, right? Like I said before, like the ideas of economics, when you have a strong human capital base, like in different like in countries, example for like Denmark, when like they make it free, but we know that it's free is not sustainable right now, because the old government can fund the privatization, fund the private universities, because they don't have enough money, like government living countries and whatnot. This is why like it's important, right? Because even if like they have to sustain on a non-free education system, but at least they have the opportunity to like elevate the workforce by creating more skilled workers, which is something that will not happen in the other side of the world. And why is this so? Because like if these more skilled workers are like more prevalent in like the economics of the country, then it will like they will be one who creates the new innovations and creates more productivity for the country. Like now before I close my substantive, like one preemptive I want to say is like the opposition want to talk about the idea that the sustainability of campus lab fees and salaries are not sustainable if they need to pay after. So like one thing first, like we know that this is like something that's of an investment. So we say that this investment is totally justifiable because it's actually more sustainable in the long run, as I explained before. And second of all, this will be even more sustainable, right? Because if they have more higher salary people, then the rate that they can accumulate this tuition will be much faster, and then they don't have to rely on students that can maybe propose too much delays and what's not because of their current financial problems to propose.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Now to open the case from the opposition, I call upon the leader of opposition.
Okay, I'll set my timer first. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So I'll start my speech with my rebuttals to the opening government. They said that they will conduct an agreement between student and employer based based on your income after you graduate until you fulfill the tuition fee. And after that, they said it will hamper the opportunity of student if we pay per semester. But we say that it is more an obvious tuition fee because you can see the amount that you have to pay in the short term, and you can prepare the money for the tuition. And secondly, they said that students will experience the ups and downs condition, and uh, the opening government wants the sustained condition. But we see that it is not fair for the students that only experience in the ups condition because they have the privilege to pay the tuition fee. And thirdly, they said that the students will create new innovation, but not every students will create new innovation. And how about the students that will not work after their graduate, because the opening government only talk about the students that have the high salary. And also moving on to my arguments, we oppose not to prefer a world in which university charge tuition as a percentage of its students' earnings after graduation, because we see the harms if we choose to live in the world where university charge tuition as a percentage of its students' earnings after graduation, because there are more possibility to this world to fail, because we prefer to live in the status quo where everyone can pay the universities based on their capabilities, such as class one, 600 million, for example, class two, 700 million, and so on and so forth. And there will be a different amount of money that they can afford. So we think that it is the fairest things that we could stand with the status quo, because we see no urgency to change the tuition fee. Moving on to my arguments. First, we don't know that the students earning after the graduation, and it will harm the university and the student as well. We still can assume that maybe the students earning amounts of money, but we cannot precisely know how much the price is. We think that it's much better for the government and the university to apply the price based on the capability of the family student, because first we don't know what is the student's priority or the family's priority. For example, maybe the students get much money, but it doesn't mean that they will save some of their money, because maybe they have some urgent occasion or urgent things that they have to pay. So if we apply the some percentage of the earnings of the students, we don't think it will be beneficial will be the university that have the qualified graduate students, but not success enough, so that they earn only the little amount of money. We can't we cannot see the qualified students based on their earnings, because it's just a money, and there are some other factors that contribute to the earnings of the students. So if we applied a tuition as a percentage of its students earning, it only harm the students that already become the achievers and maybe in the every competition. And we think that it is not an effective way to live in that world, because the universities tends to have the smart students that can be a proficient in many sectors. So the job is based on the students' choose and students' passion about. And if they get a little amount of money, but they proficient in that sector, it will be a problem for them to apply to the university. And also, we don't see the benefit of the world if maybe there are some students that would apply to the higher education, which is a master degree, and even maybe the students that not work or after graduate they become a housewife. So we think that it is not an effective way, because they maybe calculate with the wrong things, which is the earnings, because we believe that some students have a desire to become what they really want and not fetched by the salary that they get. That's all from me.
Okay, I thank the leader of opposition. Now to close the case coming from the opening government, I call upon the Deputy Prime Minister.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. You may start anytime you are ready, DPM.
Okay, let me set my timer
Oh,
first.
hold on, DPM. One of the adjudicator got disconnected. Let's wait for him for 2 minutes, yeah. Wait, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Adjudicator that failure to connect, so just proceed with the debate. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So panels, as the government, we believe that the tuition charge on a university based on earnings will be better in our world. So my prime minister have mentioned the mechanism and the benefits to the stakeholder of the higher educations, and also how the status quo could affect in education itself, which I will elaborate later more on the equity and also the education rights. But first, before I get into my arguments, I want to say a few of my rebuttals to the leader of oppositions. So basically, on overall, the leader of opposition have stated just how it will risk the students and the university, which is not true, because the leader of opposition have said that they are afraid of the priority of the students and also the family if it's not the education. So priority or not, education are a basic right for individuals to survive in this systemic civilization that we have, that I will explain later in my arguments. And also the leader of opposition also stated that we don't know the student earnings and it will harm the university. It will not harm because students need to work. There is a self-imposed safety mechanism. If they do not work, then it means they cannot sustain continue living. Thus automatically this safety mechanism will protect the university from being able to claim the university tuitions. And also the leader of opposition also stating their concern on the little amount of earning that the students will have. That's the point of this motion. It will it's 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 a flexible system. It's situated flexibly to the students, so it will not burden them. So by the percentages of these earnings applied to the students, they can still pay for the for the tuition for the tuition and still carry on to their lives. So it will not burden them. And due to the nature of the agreement, university will eventually still reclaim that money. And also, the leader of opposition also stated of desire to become a housewife. That then they wouldn't be taking on higher educations logically, and you take higher education as a stepping stone towards a career, towards a stable career that you will need to have to survive. And benefit the benefit of the opposition also stated that they don't see any benefits of this scenario, which I will say in my arguments. So moving on to my arguments in why percentages based on the students' earnings are better. So the first one, we want to address the equity aspect of education. So we can see that the status quo that has been mentioned by the PM has affected so much on one nation's sustainability, on development in education, or even in many sectors overall. So this has been a major problem globally as aspiring scientists, inventors, entrepreneurs can't make the best out of their potential solely just because of the tuition. So the percentages in charging the tuition university can allow all these aspiring brilliant scientists, inventors, and entrepreneurs to create their potential more, and by them being able to access this education from by their just by their capability, it will also contributes to the development of the education also, and also hopefully the economic of the nations itself. So let's compare to the status quo. What do we have now? What do we have to embrace this equity in education? Sure, okay, first of all, we have scholarships, but even scholarships itself is not in any form really approachable by some people. Scholarships branding are more of like choosing who is more worthy than the others to receive educations, which will not result in solving the access to education problem itself. Because as I said before, that education is the rights of one individuals in this in our society. And yes, we and also the other, we have the volunteer programs on teaching, but for that we have this many kind of programs where students will do a volunteer program just to teach students in the remote control and in a remote area and everything. But those kind of program can be classified as quality education, since those are as voluntary education are not certified educations. It's one what we have in the status quo right now, to embrace the topic of the education itself. So moving on to my second argument is that education first and foremost are the rights of individuals that needs to be provided by the nations, or in this case the governments. It's one of basic needs human must have in order to survive the systemic civilization that we have made. By systemic, we have created a civilization where a certain skill is needed to have earnings, and therefore one individuals could live efficiently by having this certain skill. And how do we have this certain skill? By a proper education, and in this case the higher educations, to have the certain skill being certified, and very certified for them to actually did what they want to. So it wouldn't be fair to not provide a basic human needs to survive just because of the tuition fee. And lastly, by using the percentage earnings as the method of tuition, it respects the human rights to allow people to live in welfare. This comparatively, in our world, we uphold human rights better, and we believe in our world the mechanism that we have brought results in equity in educations, and also fulfilled the rights of educations for all. And for that reason, we are proud to propose.
I thank the Deputy Prime Minister. Now, to close the opening half of the debate, I call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. You may start anytime you are ready.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay. We, on the opposition side, agree that the cost of higher education, attending college, is not cheap. And we also realize that there are many people who want to go to college but are unable to go to college due to economic limitation. However, we also don't want to change the tuition payment scheme from the status quo, because honestly, we think charging tuition as a percentage of each student's income after graduation is an ineffective or unnecessary things to do now. First, higher education financing can be obtained through various channels. There are self-financing, obviously. There are scholarship from the state, scholarship from the university, and prospective students have a desire to learn. We believe they can meet the criteria for the various scholarships available today. The first reason why we disagree with this motion is because there is no guarantee that the university graduates will be able to work with a salary that is sufficient to meet their daily needs and also to pay for the tuition fees that are charged to them. Indeed, there will be many jobs that may be available in the future and maybe high paying jobs, but what if the children want to continue studying to get master degrees before working? How will they later pay for their tuition fee? The we're afraid that the tuition fee will swell, will get bigger like a balloon, which will be difficult to meet with the increasing number of necessities of life that later need to be met, such as house installment, household expenses, and so on. Second, what if the students later drops out in the middle of the study period for one reason or another? The future of this student become uncertain. Will they still be charged with the tuition fees that he has taken, but but not completed. How can they pay the debt if they leave because they themselves is constrained by financial problem and to to work part-time to help support their family? What if the students fall ill during their study or even dies during their study? Who will be responsible for the unpaid tuition fees? We think this explains why the new system would be ineffective. Third, related to my 2 points, where there is no guarantee for students to get job after graduation and no one guarantees their living condition during the study period, tuition funding like this will burden the students and even burden their families in the future. How so? When they later work after they graduate, well, they must set aside a percentage of their salary to meet their tuition fees. Indeed, they are not burdened during college, but after college, after graduation, when it's time for them to be able to develop what they have, find a suitable and fulfilling job for themselves, they will instead focus on finding work as quickly as possible, whatever the job might be, to meet their tuition fees first. Whatever the installment that must be paid by someone, big or small, it will always be a burden for that person. Contrary to what the Deputy Prime Minister said, college financing like this is they said that college financing like this is flexible and not burdensome. As stated by Prime Minister, time is moving forward as age will increase. When the student works to pay for their previous education, their chances of developing in the jobs they want will also decrease. Their age will run out doing job that they don't necessarily want just to meet their needs, to pay for the education costs they have taken. And again, how can they develop if they are overshadowed by the need to pay for college after they work? As I said, they will definitely find job to cover their tuition fees first, which can prevent development for them. Well, but again, not everyone wants to work as stated by leader of opposition, and some people do wants to become housewife, and there maybe even some people who want to work as freelancer without a clear monthly salary. Without clarity from the government, we don't think the system in the status quo needs to be changed. This is why we support the existing system in the status quo and reject the new system offered by the government side of the house. That is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Leader of Opposition. Now to open the second half of the debate, I call upon the Member of Government.
Okay. Let me start my speech.
Hi, hello. Your voice was a little bit low.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me start my speech. Real quick. Okay. Okay. If there is going to be any POIs, then please unmute yourselves, and that way I can actually notice your POIs. Okay. Now moving on. I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, as the government side of the House, we still proudly oppose this this proposal, because we believe that the benefits far outweighs the harm that the opposition side of the House is trying to argue. First of all, I would like to rebut some of the harms that the opposition side of the House tried to bring. Now, first of all, they say that this is ineffective and not needed because there is source of monetary support that exists in the status quo. For example, scholarships, and then scholarships from the state, scholarships from other third party. But as the opening government speaker had said, okay, scholarships may exist, but they don't reach to everyone. Now, scholarships may only reach to the potentially to students who are potentially better at studying and compared to others. And we think that as the government side of the House, that is not fair. And second point that they try to bring is how will they later pay if they want to continue to master's degrees, and then what if they stop midterm? That way, well, how are they going to pay, because they don't have a salary to make percentage out of? And then they also say they're going to earn less compared to the status quo. Now, I will answer that one by one, because here they say they make a problem out of payments of later payments. For example, if you want to continue to master's degrees. Of course, in that sense, as the government side of the house, I would like to support the mechanism that already is brought by the opening government side of the house, which is to actually create a body that monitors the earnings of their graduates. That's first. Second is to actually create some sort of minimum amount of tuition for the students who chose to not graduate, or maybe they don't have the capabilities to graduate school. In that way, it'll link to my arguments, which I will discuss later. And then there should also be a maximum amount of tuition that they can make out of the percentage, and that is something for each and every individual university to decide on. Now, moving on to my arguments. I will bring to you a few arguments today, ladies and gentlemen, and dear panelists. First of all, I would like to characterize each of the actors that in this motion. Okay, so I noticed 3 characters here in this motion. For example, first being the student, second being the university, third being the employer. Okay, let's go from the first actor, students. What is a student? Okay, students are there and they want to go to university in hopes of getting prepped for the working world. Why do they want to prep for the working world? Well, there is the need to survive. There is the need to earn here, because they're going to have to spend money for them to be able to sustain themselves. And that's why a lot of students are ready to spend, or well, quote unquote, invest a large amount of money for it. And this leads to some of the students who are not as economically privileged, which means, and I mean people of lower class economy. That leads to some of them, and even a lot of them, having to take part-time jobs in order to cover for their tuitions, or maybe even cover their living costs. And that hasn't even counted for the tuition itself. And that, we believe, as the government side of the house, will prevent betterment for the students themselves. Why? Because they're going to have to multitask here. They're going to have to learn, do their assignments, and then also work in the night, so that they can cover off their living cost, or maybe the tuition. But most of them don't even cover off the tuitions first, because it's a part-time job. It doesn't pay a lot. Okay. Now, moving on to the university. University wants to attract students to get to get into their university. Why? Well, because there is an incentive here. It is profit. University is a profit-driven entity here. It's okay, yes, it does provide you with the education, but it still needs the profit to in order to operate here. And how will they gain those profits? Well, through marketing, alumni, facility, and quality of education. I will come back to that in my later argument. And then we have the employer, who need experienced workers to make profit for them, as another profit-driven entity here in this case, which means, well, they're going to need experienced fresh graduates. Now, I will move on to the arguments now that I've covered off the characterization. The first argument is that it's going to bring benefits because there is incentive there. There is a driving force for progress, because as the university, they need to gain more profits. They want to gain as much profit as they can. Because why? Well, if I have profit and I can spend that profit, where can I spend it? Well, I can spend it on the daily cost of operating, and I can also spend it on. I can also invest it to better the education that I can that I have. So that means I'm going to attract more students, more money, more profit, more progress. And then that's going to be better also for the students, because that's going to come with an accountability for the university. As a student, a lot of students out there feel disappointed to their university, because what they're paying for is not is probably more than they're going to earn. And in this proposal itself, that's going to be the solution here. That's going to fix it, because it's going to be within the percentage. If you're earning less, you're going to pay less. If you're earning more, you're going to spend more. That's what we're trying to fix here. Okay, so now moving on to the second argument. Well, in that, and that also covers off the second argument, which is fairness towards the student. That means they're not going to have to be disappointed. They're not going to have to be disappointed because they're going to have to spend more for their tuition, more than they're going to earn, because we're going to create a fair percentage that they can pay for here. So we, as the government side of the house, still proud to propose. Thank you very much.
Okay, I thank the member of government. Now I call upon the member of opposition.
Wait a second, because my camera is in trouble.
Oh, sure. I don't mind. Can you? Okay.
Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. First, I heard that the government said that this is a flexible program. How flexible is it? You do know that in our university, if we're led to pay our tuition, we can go to the next semester. You can just say something and thinking about what if when the students are having a hard life during their study. Not only the difficulty to exams, but for their future. How about for their loans? I don't agree with this because not all students who have graduated or will graduate can make their own money. A lot will happen if this regulation is approved. There will be a domino effect where the peoples, especially the students, will really burden them. Future, students will think about how to get money. With the current condition that is it difficult to find a jobs. It is like that student will do debt. When they make a debt to some institution, then isn't only him who is confused to pay it. Because we know that when we make a debt, the debt collector will call another family or our friends. Okay. Condition if the student comes from a family that can afford or has worked before, but this will be a burden to those who cannot afford it, especially those who use and rely on scholarships provided by the government or the private sector. This regulation will also cause problem in the future for the continuity of the education system that has been built. If this regulation is approved, many teenagers in Indonesia will particular not continue to the next level or next education, but they will immediately, no thanks, but they will immediately enter the world of work. The government should pay attention to small things for the welfare of its people, no burden the people. Our advice, the government should help the students and campus regarding funding because the government has a lot of funds rather than burdening it on students who have graduated, where of course they also have their own burdens such as housing, consumption, family, and etc. That's enough for me. Thank you.
Okay, I thank the member of opposition. Now to close the government bench speeches, I call upon government whip.
Okay, thank you. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like as the closing government side of the house, I would like to point out that what the closing opposition side of the house has tried to argue is actually aligned with our goals here. Now, first of all, I would like to explain to you why that is. Now, first of all, they said that, okay, there is a problem here within this system, within this proposal, which is that they're not going to be able, which is, okay, let's take our university here, for an example. We're not going to be able to progress if we can't fulfill our payment in due time. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, within the motion, within the proposal itself, it says that tuition it says that we're going to propose tuition as a percentage of each student's earnings after graduations. What does that mean? That means there is only an amount of tuition that we can hold on to if we have graduated and we have earning, which means what? It's going to eliminate that problem entirely under our side of the house, because they're trying to argue that, okay, what if we can't pay before? What if we can't fulfill our payment? Well, if you're working, if you're earning, then you will be able to cover off your tuition, and there is a surefire mechanism that allows you to pay. Why? Because we're only taking a percentage of your earnings, money that you're already earning here. We're not trying to spend your parents' money. We're trying to spend your money here. And the money is there, so you can't lie about it. As I've said, there should be a body that monitors these earnings from their graduates. So, in a way, we still believe that this motion still stands, even after that problem that the opposition side of the House tried to argue with. And now I want to further elaborate more on why we believe that still this is the proposal that should be done. Now, first of all, as I've said in my previous argument, which is that there is going to be fairness towards the students. Why? Because, first of all, a lot of students today has been disappointed by the fact that, okay, what I'm paying for, how much I'm paying for my education, I'm not earning as much. I'm not earning as much when I'm working here. So there is a problem there, because we invest in good education, expecting for good earning in the future, so that we can work in a better place, we can earn better earnings, we can earn a better life. But in this case, so in the current status quo, you have to work for that. So but it's very different under our side of the house, ladies and gentlemen and dear panelists, because first of all, with this system in place, there won't be any sort of disappointment towards the university, because what you're earning is because what you're spending for your education is what you're gonna is a percentage of what you're earning. So, and that in itself is a reflection of how hard you've worked within university. So we're shifting the hard work here. When in the current status quo, we're gonna have to work hard within university, and then work hard when we're already graduated and trying to earn money. But right now, right here, the work hard that we do in university will be an exact mirror of what we're gonna earn in the future. So the better you study in university, the better payment you're gonna get. But also, still in fairness to the university, they're gonna get more payment, because why? They did a good job training you. Basically, they did a good job teaching you, giving you the information and education needed for that certain type of job, for example. So there creates a fair situation here within the university and the worker and the graduate themselves. This is also where the employers comes in. Employers will be attracted to good universities with good graduates. Why? Well, then because they're more qualified to do the job. They're gonna do a better job at whatever they're supposed to do. Well, they're gonna earn more, and when they earn more, the employer also will earn more. Maybe because they create better products, or maybe they create progress within the company, and then it's going to create it's going to create an environment where employers are going to work together with universities, and that's what we students need, right? We need the connections from our university. For example, from my faculty, we have a good connection with, for example, a company, an interior design company out there. Well, that's going to create that for us automatically. We don't even need for the university to do anything. We don't need the employer to do anything. Everything will just magnetize towards each other. And that's going to create a better environment for all three of students, university, and employer. So I don't see anything coming from the opposing side of the house that is going to harm the status quo if we propose this proposal. In fact, what I've seen so far as an observer of this debate is all the benefits that we can earn from this proposal that barely comes with any harm here, because the opposing side of the house, we believe that the opposing side of the house has not been able to argue to us why this will actually cause harm. Okay, there may have been some arguments that they try to argue that, okay, maybe the proposal is going to bring harm here, but we as the government side of the house has been able to rebut their points and therefore prove that this motion should still stand. So we as the government side of the house is still proud to propose, and we believe that we should win this debate. Thank you for your time.
Okay, I thank the government whip, and now to close the grand final, I call upon the opposition whip. Hi, hello, opposition whip, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there. I'm here. I'm sorry. So, let me start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm the second speaker of the closing opposition, and I've heard tons of debate and speech during this session, and from the government, this is what I like to say. I do not understand when the government say that they'll get an incentive from the students. I believe that the saying is looking like a loan to me. Will the university or government don't give us the interest at all, since if we loan money in the bank, of course we have to pay more. Talking about this, how can the government be so sure that the students can get a higher job when we will fight fairly in the future? What is the guarantee of it? Many Americans have this loan, and many students can pay when bankrupt or some when homeless. Not everyone can work in the same company that have a collab with the university. Since during students' life, the rivalry is so hard. So let me tell you why our opposition denied the government choice to live in a world which universities charge tuition as a percentage of its student earning after graduation. So I wanted to talk about 3 things: student loans, scholarships, and a good life, and why they make a good connection in this motion. First, let me tell you about student loan. Student loan is a type of loan that helps students to pay for all the fees that they need. In our daily life, people usually have a difficulty paying for their educational life. By this, when someone is in a poor state, they will do anything to make their family's life better. But what they don't know is by taking loan, it's hard to pay for the after college life. Meaning, imagine you take a student loan and you can get a good enough job, so your monthly fees will go to your loan and only a little amount for your daily life. So what do we have for us, for ourselves, for our future, or for our retirement? Scholarship, and then I'm going to talk about scholarship. Scholarship is an award or gift given by someone or university, or in this case, the government. I do know for a fact that for this scholarship, only a few people can get this, and for students, it's hard to be in a place where only 1 people is chosen from 100. For this, I do want to tell the government to just focus on giving the student more acknowledgement, such as more scholarship. The students have many potential, but because of the budget, they can give a good life for their family. So while thinking about this, why why the government didn't think about something to make our life, the students' life, can be better and easier by giving us more scholarship and making our parents' life easier. And lastly, I want to talk about a good life. A good life meaning that by the students having a loan, it will be hard for them to have a good life because they keep worrying about their debt and don't even know how to pay it. When someone is in a poor state, I believe that they will do everything to make their family can get a good life. But by getting something like this, it will be the debt to them if they can pay back to the university or the government. That's it from me. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for all the debaters. By that opposition whip speech, we concluded the grand final round. So please do cross hand and like thank each other and whatnot. Well, for the adjudicator, I will going to open a breakout room. Hold on a second. H Delib. Okay, so I'm going to assign. Okay.
And judges are deliberating right now. Feel free to take a break and please get back here at 6:15. If not earlier, we will also announce it on the group for the grand finals announcement. Thank you.
Kak, I'm sorry. So we can leave the Zoom or no?
You can leave the Zoom, but later at 6-ish, please come back again with the same link.
Thank you.
No worries.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, participants. So now I'll be announcing the best speaker, runner-up, co-runner-up, and the champion. So we're starting from the best speaker. So for the best speaker goes to, with the score of 304 and the average of 76, goes to Rain Arthur. Congratulations. And next one is the runner-up. And the runner-up goes to FSRD 1. Congratulations, FSRD 1. And next one is the co-second runner-up. And it goes to FTSP 1 and FH 3. Congratulations. And last but not least, we have our champion. And the champion goes to FLTL FTI. Congratulations. On behalf of Trisakti, we would like to congratulate you as the official delegation for Trisakti University at tingkat wilayah 3. Congratulations for the winner, and that's all for today's event. See you tomorrow on Kompetisi Debat Mahasiswa Indonesia. Good evening, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.